How is everyone this morning? Tremendous, yeah. It's good to see you all. It's good to be here. Always good to be here. I played late last night, so it's a little early for me here. It's a song by a guy named Taylor Goldsmith. Doesn't necessarily apply to our service, but applies to our town. It's a good song. See if I remember it. Well, the cherry gum would cover up the cigarettes we smoked. The 7-Up would balance out the beer. Mom would make us dinner and we all tried not to choke. Dad was working later every year. And we'd count the trucks on Highway 1 on their way to Jacksonville, wondering where they headed on from there. My brothers and my sisters all stood spiritually still, as if those roads became an answer to their prayer. But I didn't want it any other way. This town was the one thing that felt right. All these tourists could be kings throughout the day, but not in St. Augustine at night. I was working at the bait shop, supplying all the fishing tours. Pretty soon, I was chartering a boat. My dad said I needed good luck and a secret stash of Coors if I stood a chance of keeping things afloat. It was then my girlfriend told me there's a baby on the way. She had to know, was I gonna go to bat? I never put off till tomorrow things I could have done today. No, I always waited way longer than that. And I never had much say in how I felt. I was guided by my barroom appetites. So if this world belongs to everybody else, just leave me St. Augustine at night. And our oldest brother left us, trying to live one too many lives. I guess he finally settled for none at all. And the rest of us drew apart from our husbands and our wives and asked if anybody tried to call. And life became a series of birthdays, cards, and pets. Just anything to look forward to. Hey, I don't sing about regrets. I don't think about regrets. At this point, I don't see what good it would do. But I'm not asking for anybody's help as I gaze out where the stars dance with the lights. If I'm not about myself. Well, I still got St. Augustine at night. Hey, I still got St. Augustine at night.
Good morning. My name is Pat Conover, if you don't know me. And I'd like to welcome everyone here, all these beautiful souls sitting here, smiling and happy, joyful, full of light. And those of you watching online, we're so happy to have you here. Try to join us. You'll really feel the energy when you're with us. Hang on for a minute. Of course, you lose what you're looking for, don't you? I noticed the message up on the wall about the food bank. I did a lot of volunteering at the food bank for quite some time. And if you feel it in your heart, that you might have a little time and energy to devote to that, believe me, it's greatly appreciated. Okay, is Elaine back with us today? There she is. Elaine is going to be doing her Rise and Soar workshop at the end of the service. It's a transformative course, removing the blocks to your expressions of source. It's a wonderful time, and if you have space in your life for this right now, I advise you to stay and enjoy. And remember, we are collecting school supplies for students in need, and there are quite a few students in need in St. Johns County. Bring them to the center until next Sunday. Be sure to pray over the supplies for the students, their parents, and their teachers. And also, while you're at it, say some prayers for our beautiful Diana Ambrose, who chaired this wonderful activity for so many years, took full responsibility for it. She's not able to do that, and she definitely needs your prayers as she's in palliative care right now. And all of you are probably aware that our beloved Richard transitioned, and there will be a memorial service at some time in the future. Okay. Ken is on vacation. Isn't that wonderful that he had the opportunity to do that? His niece is here. You know how much he loves her. So he's able to take some time and do some activities with her. And I will find it again. I promise. A new members class starts August 11th, Anybody who might be interested in learning a little bit more about our center, we welcome you to attend. And we still need volunteers for the Mystic Fair on October 5th. Seems early, but it's not. It takes a lot of work to get ready for that. The sign-up sheet is in the lobby. And at this point, we'll have Don give us a lovely song.
I certainly hope so. No telling what may appear on the horizon. Ain't no reason to fear, I'm taking it day by day. No telling what you might hear, could be surprising. But my position's clear, I'm taking it day by day. I lift up my voice and sing it out. I haul in the mainsail and I bring her about. I be believing that life is sweet and it's yours for the taking. And you'll never miss a beat if you're taking it day by day. And under a bright blue sky, faith lies unshaken. You're happy and so am I to be taking it day by day. I lift up my voice and I sing it out. I set new course and bring it about. Oh, I keep believing that life is sweet, mine for the taking. Hey, I'll never miss a beat if I'm taking it day by day. And under a bright blue sky, hope lies unshaken. You're happy and so am I to be taking it day by day. We be taking it day by day. Come on, taking it day by day. Simply taking it day by day.
And now I'm going to ask Brenda Census to come up and do a reading and opening treatment. Silver Fawn's just so excited.
You're welcome to come up and do this if you want. Hi. Well, good morning. And as I thought, well, I've been thinking about this opening prayer for quite a while, mostly because right now we're in an election season, as we are all very well aware, and I've been through my ups and downs with it, thinking what I don't want to happen, you know, all these things. And then I finally settled into remembering that I can let go and let God. So I certainly can't control what's going on. None of us can. It's a fool's errand to think that we can. What we can do is what's in front of us to do and to affirm what we want, not what we don't want. It's like asking a server at a restaurant, what's the special? Oh, well, it's not prime rib, it's not lobster tail. Well, that gets you nowhere. What you want to do is affirm what you want. And so I'm going to do this reading and treatment in that vein. And this applied again this morning. I'll just throw this in. I was reading the paper and something I read something and it hit me like, it took the wind out of my sails. I thought, oh no, not this. And then I remembered what I'm about to tell you. Okay. I am willing to let go and let God. Trying to remain in control of a changing situation can test the limits of my strength and patience. Sometimes, despite my preferences and willfulness, circumstances shift in unpredictable ways and even undesirable ways. We've seen that happening. The more I try to exert control or feel like I want to exert control, the more frustrated and exasperated I'm going to feel. Before I get to that point, I remind myself that God is in the midst of everything: stability and change, cooperation and discord, order and chaos. Letting go and letting God means I am willing to have faith in the divine presence, willing to trust divine timing, and willing to be patient as divine order unfolds. I give up the illusion of control and become willing to let go, let God be God in and as my life. So when I put that in the context of the election season, it really helps me center and settle down. And so that's what my prayer will be centered around today. I know that there is one divine intelligence in this universe. It is with me, for me, as me. It is me. I am one with it. I'm not all of it. It is all of me. And I know that I look out sometimes at the peace, at the chaos, and I sometimes don't remember that God is in the middle of all of that. Spirit, intelligence, whatever you want to call it, good. I don't want to trigger any of you with the word God. If that triggers you, think of it as good. And so I know that it's always there, always available for me. And I know that things during this election season are unfolding according to divine order and divine timing. That everything, the universe, is working for our good, always and everywhere. I mean, just look at the universe that has been created. That has been created out of good and love. And so I know that continues, and I know I can let God, the presence, the intelligent energy, do what it does best, in the order it does and in the timing it does. And I can just watch it all unfold as it is unfolding. And I need not worry. I need not control it. And so I am grateful for knowing this. I am grateful to this center for bringing me along to get to this point in understanding of my spiritual nature. I'm grateful to anyone who brings food for our food pantry out in the little red wagon out there, to the people who volunteer at any of the food banks, to our practitioners, to all our volunteers, to hospitality, to greeters, to everyone who makes this center buzz with excitement and good. I'm grateful that Ken can have a vacation, and apparently the rest of a lot of people are with him on vacation because they're not here. No, they're with us in spirit. Anyway, I'm grateful for this knowing. I'm grateful to Spirit for knowing that it is with me, through me, with me, always, everywhere. And I release what I know now into the universe and allow it to manifest through me, for me, being an open channel to it. I release it simply and easily by saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Brenda. And now, to give us a very inspiring message this morning, the lovely soulful Silver Fawn.
Huh? I can't even wait my turn. So I haven't been with you all much these past few months because of responsibilities out in the community, which I'm so grateful for, truly. But I miss being here. And again, for those of you at home, I hope today, first, welcome, and I hope today that you are touched by the message. And my wish, my greatest wish for you is you can feel the positive energy in this room just radiating out to you. So before we kind of go any further, in my tradition, we always start with saging, right? So it's Reverend Ken's version of leaving your wouldas, your shoulda, your couldas outside, out the door. It also helps us to remember that we are coming together to create this sacred space. We're going to make a commitment to leave those things that might distract us outside. We're not denying that there are, some rough things going on out in the world. There are. But we're making a conscious decision just to leave them aside for a few minutes, an hour, and to come together to really support each other in this beautiful, beautiful connection. Today, I'm going to be offering a little bit more than usual. I'm kind of stepping outside of my normal role a little bit. I'm combining them. I'm going to offer you some science-backed information that continues to back this idea of science of mind. I know Jim started with that, so I'm running with it. So I will be offering some more science-based information. However, I will never tell you what to believe and what's right for you. So even though I'm throwing around the word science a lot, and I place some faith in that, I place faith in science. Yeah. Even though I place some faith in that, if what I'm saying any part of it doesn't work for you, then just let it slide on by. Let's see. Let me go back to that one. So many of you may not know that in my professional life, my day job, I'm a professor and a researcher. And my research is on self-concept and positive well-being. And it lines up beautifully with some of the teachings of Dr. Holmes. It's been odd and even challenging at times to balance my role as a researcher and my spiritual leadership role, my role as a leader and a spiritual seeker. Now, I want to be clear, I don't need the research to support my spiritual beliefs. I put a great deal of faith in faith, too. But I have to admit, it's really rewarding to me, and you'll see it's exciting to me, too, when the research actually, the science sort of backs up the spiritual beliefs. So again, when Jim spoke about the science of behind the science of mind, I heard that as an invitation to run with this idea and to continue on in the vein, and again, doing something a little different. It's really pretty rare for me to get to bring my spiritual leadership role and my professor role together in the same presentation. Doesn't happen too often. So today I want to talk a little bit about the role of our positive actions in terms of our mindset, our beliefs, or those positive thoughts. So I want to offer you some scientific evidence about how much our thoughts and that filter really matters. And again, we hear a lot about thinking in a positive way, but we don't always hear about how to get there. Like, how do we do that? I mean, it seems really simple, just think positive things, but it doesn't always work that well, right? So our habitual thoughts create an internal working model, a filter through which we interpret our experience, and then this filter guides our thoughts, our memories, and our actions. It influences what we focus on. So in a way, we create like this feedback loop where what we focus on impacts our thoughts, impacts our actions, and then our thoughts and our actions influence the filter. So again, we have sort of this loop that continues on. Let me give you, so we might want to think about if it's time to change our filter, right? Let me give you an example, and I need to say this comes from my early research, and I want to be really clear that I would never talk about something that happens in a study without explicit permission to do so. I have to say that part. In one of the early studies, there was this woman who shared a story about being like 3 or 4 years old. We don't know exactly how old, but she wrecked her tricycle. She's riding her tricycle and at her house, and at the end of the drive, she crashes. A neighbor's in his yard, and he sees her, and he comes out right away, and he dusts her off and helps her get her little trike back set up, and he walks her and her trike up to the door and gets her mom's attention to let her mom know what happened. Now, if you were to take that experience, that event, and kind of pull it into yourself, right? We start making that filter really young. If you were starting to get an idea about what the universe, what creator, what just life, what is the message that we might take from that? What might you come away from that with? Some people might think, there's somebody around to help me. If I need help, somebody will be available. Some people might think that don't stay off trikes, like maybe. Thing is, we tend to generalize them a little bigger, but maybe we even take it, maybe we have a particularly religious family, and so we walk away thinking God, or in my tradition, Tankashala, is looking out for us. Well, for this woman, the message that she internalized was quite different than what I would internalize, or maybe some of you. She internalized, never ask for help. Never ask for help. Now, we don't really know why. She was little, 3 or 4 years old. She remembers in her thinking her mom was actually upset. She thinks maybe her mom was embarrassed. Maybe her mom felt judged of not being a good mother because the neighbor had to bring the child up. We don't know what the mother was thinking. We don't at all. But we know that the child internalized, don't ask for help, take care of yourself. And we know that because that message just shows up over and over and over in her life. The big events in her life come back to again and again and again. She's using this filter, do it yourself, don't ask for help. And again, we begin creating that filter really early on. Now, it changes and it morphs and it grows over the expanse of our lifetime. However, we tend to take that early filter and build on it. Remember how I said it keeps kind of building and building? What happens and what we see, again, continues on and on with this feedback loop. So have you ever noticed that something happens and maybe you witness something with you and a friend or your spouse, a sibling, and what you remember happened is quite different from what they remember happening, right? Why is that? You were both there. How is it one person remembers something so different than the other? Because you're using different filters. You're paying attention to different aspects of that event. So I want to show you a little video. It's only like a minute long. Your job, you're going to see some people passing a basketball back and forth. And your job is to count how many times the people in the white shirts pass the basketball. You're going to see some people in white shirts and black shirts. Again, if you've seen this before, just sit tight, right? Oh. right? So you're going to count how many times the basketball's being passed. Is there any way to pause that? Can we pause it? Uh-oh. Y'all got 16? Is it paused? Is it paused? Awesome. So you all got A pluses today. How many of you got 16 actually before that came up? All of you? Excellent. How many of you have seen this before? A couple of you. How many of you saw the gorilla? I know a couple of you did because I heard the little chuckles. I know. I hear some of you like, there was a gorilla? What? If you've seen this, I'm going to show you there really is a gorilla in just a second. If you've seen this before, you may have noticed the gorilla, but I bet you didn't notice that the curtains change from red to, I think, orange, or orange to red. And I bet you didn't notice that some of the people who were passing the ball go out of the picture completely. So let's see. Can we run it? Am I out of the way? Can we just start from here, please? And if not, we can play it again, either way, whatever's easier. That's fine, Miles. You can just play again. Watch for the gorilla, I'll show it to you. And my audio team over there, audiovisual, I really apologize. They do an awesome job, and I didn't give them a heads up about pausing it and all that. Sorry. Do you need me to just go back a slide and start it? Okay, no worries. Let me try just going back to the, there we go. Right, so you're watching for the people passing in the white shirts, passing the ball, and they're passing, you're counting, they're passing, you're counting, and curtains in the background are red. See the gorilla? Here it comes, there it is, right there in the middle. This is what you saw in the beginning, not a second, and the curtains are now yellow. And we also had people in black. All right, can we move on to the next slide now, please? Thanks, all right, okay. So, some of you, the objective reality is the same. There was a gorilla every time. The curtains change. We can back up and watch it over and over. The curtains, the color changes. It's not a trick. But, so were some of you who didn't see the gorilla, were you wrong? Say no. 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 Were those of you who saw the gorilla right? So some of you saw it. You should be saying, yeah, we were right. You were both right, right? The objective reality is still the same, but our focus is what mattered. Our focus depended then on what we actually saw. And in this case, instead of you using your natural filter, I kind of stepped in and focused you, right? I kind of created a short filter for you and said, look for the people in the white shirts. So again, being aware of our filter can help us make conscious decisions that can then reframe the filter over time, right? We literally just did that when I said, okay, had I not told you there was a gorilla, you could have watched that 4 or 5 times and still not gotten the gorilla, okay? So being aware of our filter can help. But here's the thing. You don't have to be fully aware of the filter in order to change it, right? There's some things we can do. And I'm going to come back to that in a second. I'm going to give you some evidence around that. I generally just wake up in a good mood. I get up and I'm singing silly songs to my cats, and I just wake up that way. But sometimes I have one of those days. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like one of those days where like something small happened, unexpected, it's a little stressful, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. My grandma would have said, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. My dad, sorry, something just happened there. Can you guys hear me okay? My dad would have said, you need to change that tire. He was suggesting that I do something to interrupt that downward spiral. He was suggesting that the way I was thinking about things could matter and could then make a whole difference in my day. Little did I know then that 40, 50 years later, he'd be proven right. It actually matters, right? So let me talk about a little bit about how that filter matters. In my early research, we examined people's memories and the positive and negative aspects of those memories. And in essence, we're looking then at the cognitive filter that they build. We found that their memories influenced the filter, and it also impacted psychological well-being. So specifically, we found that the people who could acknowledge both the negative and the positive in the experience and understand ways that they could learn from it, they were the ones that were psychologically the healthiest. So this is key. I think sometimes we run into like what's called toxic positivity. We're trying so hard to be positive that we ignore the negative. This research shows it wasn't denying the negative things that happened that was helpful. It was acknowledging bad things happen and then being able to find a way to use what we learned, to learn from it and find a way to focus then on the positive. And again, I think that's really important given what we're faced with today, right? We can choose the thoughts that influence the filter. So there's a couple ways we can do that. Again, I want to talk about 2 specific things we can do to change that tire. I want to talk about things we can do to help us reach that point of positivity. And first, though, I want to give you some information about the real impact of it, right? So 2 things we can do are random acts of kindness and, believe it or not, volunteering. I promise you, I did not start off this talking with Pat or Brenda. I no way, shape, or form knew that they were going to ask for volunteers today, so I promise. But we'll see what you do with that at the end. Okay, so continuing on with this idea of some science behind our actions and that they influence the filter. And again, I want to be clear, this next part is based on research, but not based on my research. So you know what random acts of kindness are, right? I mean, basically, they're just kind acts that are unexpected, that someone else does for us, usually. Can you think of a time when someone did a random act of kindness for you? So maybe it was a stranger, just out of nowhere, someone who didn't have to, there was no payback, they weren't expecting anything from you. They just did something kind for you. usually that feels pretty good for us, right? That feels pretty good. However, the studies show the benefits work for both people, the person receiving the act of kindness as well as the person doing the act of kindness. So let me just run through some of the benefits. Kindness is shown to increase self-esteem and empathy and compassion. It can improve our mood. It can improve our sense of connectivity with other people, therefore improving relationships. And something I think is really curious, it seems to be contagious, right? So even if we don't do or receive the random act of kindness, seeing it happen, hearing it happen, can also encourage us to engage in our own acts of generosity. So it's probably not surprising that there are psychological benefits to kindness, right? But there are actual measurable physical benefits to engaging in random acts of kindness and being kind. And those are things like decreases in blood pressure, there's heart protective factors, it reduces cortisol, our stress hormones. That's directly related to how we experience stress. So kindness can positively change boost neurotransmitters, brain chemicals like serotonin and dopamine. And these chemicals then in your brain can produce feelings of positivity, of satisfaction. We tend to be more relaxed. They can even influence the endorphins, your natural painkillers, again, creating some sense of relaxation. So again, engaging in random acts of kindness can actually, over time, not only help us in the moment, but also help start to change that filter to some degree, right? The other thing I want to bring up is volunteering. And I could have spent this entire time talking about the spiritual growth that comes from volunteering. But let me stay with the scientific evidence for a little bit yet. Basically, volunteering has all of the same benefits that we just mentioned with random acts of kindness. And then there's a few more, right? So volunteering decreases risk of some physical and mental health problems, increases those neurotransmitters, and can reduce stress and relaxation and so forth. However, volunteering has some additional, I think, interesting, curious impacts beyond that. Volunteering has its immediate impact, but it also is shown to have some long-term impacts as well. And it's particularly important, the research shows it's particularly important for older adults. And I think this is also curious, volunteering can also, when it's done with consistency, volunteering with an organization has even greater effects than when we volunteer by ourselves or when we engage in random acts of kindness by ourselves. So I've given you a taste of some evidence related to the physical and psychological benefits that show the power of positive thinking and actions. But I think it's really important to remember that these are two tools that you can use to help change that filter over time. It supports your spiritual practice and potentially helps you live your best life. To make the greatest impact on the long-term shifts in your filter, it's better to think of these practices as a quality of being that you're cultivating. Not focus on the act itself so much, but a quality of being. So the bottom line is, when the filter you're using to interpret your experience is focused on the things that help you live your best life, when it's imbued with kindness, the better it is for you and everyone around you, We literally create a ripple of positive well-being that touches everyone around us. And I believe this ripple makes a difference. It makes a difference in the world. And you, every single one of you in here today, you have the power to make that change. what will you do with it? Aho, Mentakwe Aisen. Thank you. Thank you.
I was going to do something in honor of the Lakota tradition, which I still will, but my thoughts moved elsewhere. This is a piece that I did last week. I wrote this on a road trip just recently. And it applies to everything I just heard. For me, it applies to everything I just heard. Both the stress of the times and changing filter. I could change my oil too at that same point. This is brand new. I think I know it. I'm keeping my head held high, eyes on the bright side. It's a matter of do or die. I'll tell you about it when I get home. I'm walking a rocky road between the left and the right side. If the center will not hold, how will I ever find my way home? Some folks just grieve, they forget how to breathe, 'cause you see round the bend. Some don't believe what their own eyes have seen, say it's all pretend. How will it ever end? Just see the gorilla. I'm keeping my head held high, my eyes on the bright side. It's a matter of do or die. I'll tell you about it when I get home. Hiding their eyes, thinking they can disguise where the road goes. Blinding their eyes with their heads in the sand and their minds closed. Crazy, I suppose. I'm keeping my head held high, my eyes on the bright side. It's a matter of do or die. I'll tell you about it when I get home. I'll probably shout it when I get home. I'll sing all about it when I get home. Oh, I was inspired.
You always inspire us, Don. And now it's time to give back. As you know, there are many ways to support our center. Your volunteering is always appreciated. But we need to be able to meet all of our financial obligations, and so we encourage you to, as you're able, contribute to this. So will the ladies who are doing the collecting today start your journey? Oh, I forget this every time, don't I? If you'll all join me. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. Thank you for reminding me.
were talking earlier that I think the first time I was ever here, I played this song because I realized when I sat and listened that this place made sense to me. And two women in the back went, "My gosh, you said hoka hey in that song. I've never heard that ever." And it is a song out of the Lakota tradition, which some people think means it's a good day to die, because in Crazy Horse's speech, he said, "Hoka hey, it's a good day to die," as he led his folks into a very important battle. But it really isn't a good day to die. It means let's do it. Let's go. Well, there's a sacred tune that dwells inside of me. I heard it in the mountains, I heard it by the sea. It calls us all together, the many and the one. It's been around forever, never goes unsung. It's the sum of all that's true, and all I've got to do is raise my voice and sing. And it echoes in the canyons, it whispers in the trees, it fills my heart with gladness, it resonates in me. It's the sound of angels passing and zephyrs high above, an answer to my asking for just a little bit of love to help me make it through. And all I've got to do is raise my voice and sing. Hallelujah, Hare Ram, Waheguru, Satanam, Kyrie, okay, Namaste, Amen. And that sacred tune, so clarion, so clear, resounds across the ages for everyone to hear. Hey, it doesn't need a venue, and it doesn't need a band. You just open up and then you will come to understand that it's ancient yet it's new, and all we've got to do is raise our voice and sing. Alleluia, Hare Ram, Waheguru, Satnam, Kyrie, okay, Namaste, Amen. So these are all those perennial philosophy words from all the beliefs and thoughts. We're all saying the same thing. Alleluia, Hare Ram, Waheguru, Satanam, Kyrie, Hokahe, Namaste, Amen. So, if you think you know him and you want to join us, all you got to do is raise your voice and sing. Alleluia, Hare Ram, Waheguru, Satanam, Kyrie, Hokahe, Namaste, Amen. Hallelujah, Hare Ram, Waheguru, Satanam, Kyrie, Hokahe, Namaste, Amen. Yeah, there's a sacred tune that dwells inside of me.
And it's time to close the service. I will give a closing prayer. I know that the universal spirit is with us at all times. It flows within us and outside of us, and we project the light and love, as Brenda said earlier, to all around us. I'm so grateful to be part of this universal spirit, to be a member of a spiritual community such as this that brings so many beautiful souls together to share in its excitement and its vibrance. I'm so thankful for Reverend Ken, our spiritual leader, and for all who do so much for this center. I'm so grateful, and I send this gratitude to the universe to do its good and perfect work by saying, and so it is.
Ask for help, right? Well, sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on, and though it won't be long, we're all gonna need somebody to lean on. Well, please swallow your pride. If you have things you need to borrow, for nobody can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend, and I'll help you carry on. And no, it won't be long, we're all gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Hey, and if there is a load that you have to bear, that you can't carry, you know that I am right up the road, and I'll share your load. If you just call me, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend, and I'll help you carry on. Though it won't be long, we're all gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call me if you need a friend. You just call me if you need a hand. You just call me if you got a need. You just call me, you just call me. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. So lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, though it won't be long until we all need somebody to lean on. And we all got each other to lean on. And we all need somebody to lean